Okay, for this video, we're going to show you how to annotate EOC Part A. We're going to start with question 1, which is the author's main thesis. In most cases, you would find the main thesis in the first paragraph or in the last paragraph. Sometimes it's in the title. But in this case, the thesis is implied. The thesis usually looks like a sentence or two, which argues something or claims something. Since the thesis is implied, we have to find the claims first, and then we know what the thesis is. We already found the claims, though, which will be in the next part of the video. And for this article, the main claim is that greed is good for economy, but is unhealthy for people.
Okay guys, I'm going to be doing number 2 of EOC Part A. Question 2 is, explain the author's line of reasoning by identifying the claims used to build the argument and the connections between them. The author's first claim that supports his thesis is found in paragraph 3. The author states that, over time, however, consumer culture has upped consumptive capacity by owning its members to be immune to satisfaction, thus immediately ready to desire the next thing that comes along. In modern age, desire, 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 which is the basis for constant greed. This relates to the author's claim that consumer culture is desiring more materialistic things. Next, the author says that greed is driving entrepreneurial investment. Also, the author states that the author's third claim is that greediness is unhealthy for people, and that is implied in the third to last paragraph when he states, more and more mental health professionals are saying that greed is not nearly as good for people as it is for economies, with some warning that greed is beginning to overwhelm consensus reasons, compassion, love, family bonds, and community. In question 1, we found that the thesis is that greed is beneficial to the economy but is unhealthy for consumers. And each claim provides evidence for the author's statement. The evidence for consumer culture has increased its consumptive capacity. For this article, we found the EOC Part A line of reasoning by going through and mapping. The author's line of reasoning for this article was very fluctuant. He went through and assessed each one of his claims, provided evidence, and transitioned into the next fairly efficiently.
Okay, so now on to the last question. Question 3 says, evaluate the effectiveness of the evidence the author uses to support the claims made in the argument. This pretty much means that you must find what the evidence is, what kind of evidence is being used, and how effective it is to the argument. In the 2017 EOC Part A article, the first claim is that greed has increased consumers' desire to have more materialistic things. Right here. This is when you would find the evidence that relates to the claim. The evidence here is, in the past, says Bauman, greed was not constant because people's desires were still attached to needs and objects, as well as credible social world, which they tended to pause from time to time in satisfaction or reflection. This kind of acts as a counterclaim when he says however, but it still supports the claim overall, kind of explaining what it was. Now you have to determine what kind of evidence this is. In this case, the evidence was paraphrased from the source stated above. The source, the eminent sociologist Zygmunt Bauman, which was cited from an insightful essay, which I will talk about later. Our next claim is that greed drives entrepreneurial investment. The evidence here is says that it is no wonder that greed enthusiasts insist that nothing can beat greed when it comes to the economy, and that we should not give up on it as the epicenter of economic and social life, or fixate on the burst stock market bubbles or sticky-fingered Enrons and WorldComs. This kind of evidence, this isn't necessarily a type of evidence. It was not paraphrased from anything, and it wasn't really quoted from anyone, so that affects his credibility, which I will talk about later. The third claim was that greediness is unhealthy for people. This one actually had a lot of evidence to support it, stating that greed is beginning to overwhelm conscience, reason, compassion, love, family bonds, and community, which are listing symptoms and things that happen when you're greedy, but it doesn't necessarily state any studies that were done, which happens in a lot of his evidence. Exactly as he says, existing levels of constant greed are causing clinical depression and despair in many people. Where are the studies done for this? There were no studies. There was no citation. He just comes up with it, and this is not a valid source or evidence. He continues on as the term pleonexia is being used to diagnose pathological greed that can contribute to the host of ills, including stress, burnout, gambling addictions, compulsive shopping, affluenza, and the loss of moral grounding. Pleonexia is actually extreme greed for wealth and material possession, which the author should have explained in his article. Also started listing, again, the symptoms, but didn't have any type of source to back this up. Stress, burnout, gambling addictions, compulsive shopping, affluenza, and loss of moral grounding. Affluenza is actually a psychological condition affecting young wealthy people, and some symptoms include lack of motivations and such. He could have also included that there instead of just leaving it in quotations. Another piece of evidence is found here in the last paragraph. Beyond that, in this article, Selfishness, Greed, and Counseling, a chronic orientation toward greed has been shown to result in inflexibility, anxiety, and diminished reality testing, all of which tarnish a person's overall experience of life. So, then again, he goes on listing inflexibility, anxiety, and diminished reality testing, but he includes an article to cite from, so it adds to the validity of the evidence. Also, as we were assessing question 2, my fellow team member forgot to highlight the subclaim that is included for claim 1. So, this is, but others point out how greed and its dying with the most toys cultural hero system is infusing children around the globe with self-destructive degrees of materialism, avarice, and self-preoccupation. This subclaim supports the first claim, because it's about materialism found in people and consumers, and children count as consumers in this sense. Although this is a subclaim relating to the first claim, the evidence doesn't seem to line up. The evidence given was, over the past 2 decades, for example, aggressive advertising by the soft drink industry has seen high-sugar soft drink consumption double in children aged 6 to 11, a major contributor to the worsening epidemic of childhood obesity and diabetes. This, as I said before, does not relate to the subclaim that is supposed to tie to the first one. Although the author states after giving the evidence, today with greed, their main moral compass, Although after the evidence is given, the author states, today, with greed still their main moral compass, these companies market an ever-expanding array of caffeinated drinks to children that have health experts worrying about a new wave of youth addiction. This has nothing to do with the subclaim stated, and this does not help the first claim given. If anything, it helps the third claim given, talking about the mental and physical health of greedy consumers.
Okay guys, so that's the end of our video. I wish you guys good luck, and have a good day.
Okay, so for this video, we're going to show you how to...
Okay, 1, 2. Is that the 20th?
And talk about it. Another fallacy. This shit.